Welcome back, everyone. Sheepdog Smokey here, and this is one of my Don't California My Texas videos. Gun confiscation is coming to a vote in Texas. Is gun control coming to Texas? Despite grassroots efforts to pass constitutional carry, the Texas political establishment killed the legislation after waging a controversial smear campaign against a gun rights activist. Now, the establishment politicians want to take it a step further by passing a backdoor gun confiscation bill. According to gun rights activists, HB 545 is a due process killer. Dudley Brown, president of the National Association for Gun Rights, declared in an email that HB 545 could strip Texans of their rights to bear arms without proper due process, all under the guise of mental health. Brown added that HB 545 is even more extensive than Obama's veteran gun ban, meaning veterans in Texas will get the brunt of the ill effects of this bill, and rumors even suggest that HB 545 could be amended with dangerous red flag gun confiscation language. HB 545 was authored by Democrat Pancho Nevarez, who was responsible for killing constitutional carry in the Homeland Security and Public Safety Committee. The bill quickly went through the Criminal Jurisprudence Committee and is expected to be voted on by the full Texas House of Representatives on May 9th. Chris McNutt, the executive director of Texas Gun Rights, argues that, like red flag gun confiscation orders, HB 545 already infringes on law-abiding Texans of their right to bear arms without a crime even being committed. If passed, HB 545 would deal a major blow to gun rights in Texas, which are protected by both the Texas and U.S. constitutions. Texas is currently ranked in the ninth best state for gun owners, according to Guns and Ammo magazine. And we can take a look right here at House Bill 545. Now, I'm not going to read everything to you, but what you can see is that this is amending Section 46.06 to amend subsection A and add subsection E. Now, subsection A, we're going to look at, this is already in law. So if you sell, rent, lease, loan, or give a handgun to someone who you know is going to commit a crime, you're liable with them. If I loan my handgun to someone and I know they're going to go rob a bank, I'm an accomplice. That's already law. There's a lot of that there. But let's look at the green. Let me readjust here. Knowingly sells, rents, leases, loans, or gives a firearm to a person who the actor knows or has reasonable cause to believe is a person receiving inpatient mental health services by an order of a court under Chapter 574 Health and Safety Code. A person who has been acquitted in a criminal case by reason of insanity or lack of mental responsibility, regardless of whether the person was ordered by a court to receive inpatient treatment or residential care under Chapter 46C Code of Criminal Procedure. A person who has been determined to have an intellectual disability and committed by a court for long-term placement in a residential care facility under Chapter 593 Health and Safety Code, or a person determined to be incompetent to stand trial under Chapter 46B Code of Criminal Procedure. It is a defense to prosecution under subsection A7 that the transfer is to a person who is the subject of a judicial order or finding that the person is entitled to relief from disabilities under section 574.088 of the Health and Safety Code. Okay. Has obtained notice of relief from disabilities under 18 U.S.C. Code 925, or the actor had reasonable cause to believe is a person described by subsection A7 if that person is not a person described by that subdivision. So the ending, they literally say, well, if you think there's someone that we didn't describe, that means we described them. Yeah, you're probably thinking the same thing. They described several people that in many cases they're not someone you need to disarm. Let's go for just one, and again, completely random here, but I want to football this. Let's say you come home to find your entire family tied up and being tortured with knives while someone stands over them with a gun. You, having a concealed carry license or a license to carry, withdraw your pistol and quickly deal with the people torturing to death your family. You put them down to stop the brutal attack and murder of your family. There are many people who, if the prosecutor in a criminal case says that you could have easily just called the police or you could have dealt with it in a more humane manner, and they're going to go after you with everything they've got. They're actually going to try and convince the judge that you murdered the criminals who were torturing your family to death. I know that if I came home and found someone doing that to my parents, my mental state would be affected. And there could be a time when someone uses that and says, listen, the person came home to find their entire family being restrained, cut in two, and being threatened with a firearm, meaning if they don't let you cut them until they bleed to death, you're just going to shoot them. That is not something that anyone should ever have to deal with. The prosecution then, well, fine, we will decline to stand trial for reason of temporary insanity. Boom, you can't own a gun. Right then and there, you are no longer allowed to own a firearm because you had to use one to protect your family. This is very similar to Obama's veteran ban, where veterans who are under care from the VA or people who are on Social Security, okay, they're trying to expand the prohibited possessor list as far as they can until it says if you are alive, you cannot possess a firearm. Meanwhile, people don't talk about how Obama had thousands of fugitives from justice removed from NICS. This is a backdoor gun ban, and they are likely to try to add red flag laws. And just as a review, red flag law is where someone goes to a judge without your knowledge. You're not there to defend yourself, so you don't get your day in court. They say, I think they're dangerous. They don't have to really give any evidence. The judge has to rule on a preponderance of evidence. Well, when every shred of evidence is coming from one side of the issue, of course there's a preponderance. Then the judge issues the supposed red flag warrant. Police are then told you are a danger to yourself or others. If you're a cop, told someone is a danger and they're armed, you're not going to politely knock at the door at 10 in the morning and say, yes, I'm sorry, I have a warrant for your guns. You're going to go in and you're going to do your job. Well, we've already had someone in the Northeast, I believe it was either Maryland or Connecticut, killed because people were told he's dangerous. And cops went in ready to go because they were told he's dangerous. We only later find out that the person who reported him as a danger to society had lost an argument. There was no threat made. There was no anything done except he was proven wrong in an argument and he got someone killed. And unfortunately, he can go before the judge. I felt threatened, Your Honor. I didn't know what to do and get away with it. California wants to expand this to where virtually anyone on the street can say you're a danger. There are stories of people on their own property, okay, not walking the street, not in a store, not getting in and out of their car, but on their property with a pistol on their belt. And they get the police called on them. The police show up and they say, no, sir, I live here and I am carrying on my property as allowed by law. I can tell you, on weekends when we get out on my parents' land and we're cutting down trees or we're mowing or whatever, my dad and I both have our pistols because we live out in an area where there are a lot of coyotes, bobcats. I've seen what I believe to be a lynx, feral cats, skunks, all sorts of things you don't want anywhere near you. Thankfully, with the one bobcat I have seen, I've been able to run him off with a BB gun. You know, pop him in the flank with the BB gun, he hisses at you and he runs. The coyotes are getting a little braver. I've actually had to pop around into the ground right at their feet to scare them off. I don't want to kill them. They serve a very valuable purpose in the ecosystem. They eat varmints. But if they are a threat to me and my family, I will shoot. Now imagine my neighbor, new neighbor, just moved in, sees me mowing the yard with my pistol on my hip. They call the cops. He's dangerous. He's threatening me. He's mowing the yard. He has a gun. That's a threat. No, it's not. Right now, Texas errs on the side of the law abiding. He's on his property, mowing his yard, and it's in the holster. That is not a threat. You have filed a false police report. This BS of HB 545 and the possibility of adding red flag language removes your right to due process. Due process very simply means someone comes and tells you there's been this charge leveled against you. They may or may not arrest you. You are then taken to court. You face your accuser and a judge. The judge hears both sides, or the jury hears both sides. The judge or jury then issues their verdict. With red flag, you don't know anything has happened until you've been convicted. You are guilty until proven innocent. And once an ERPO has been issued, pretty much every judge on the bench is going to say, "Well, no, I had to issue an ERPO against you. That means if I let it expire and you do something, I'm liable." You lose your Second Amendment right because some idiot decided they didn't want you to have a gun. And it's not right. Period. Veterans who are receiving disability are not disabled to the point where they can't own a gun. Democrats hate veterans because veterans stand with the military and with the people against tyranny. My father has a hearing issue from his time serving and has a cardiac issue just due to being old. What would happen if he were to lose the hearing in one ear and he's 50% disabled? According to Obama, take away his guns. I can tell you, my dad is one of the sharpest people on the planet. My grandfather was. It's just the way it is. My father could lose all hearing in one ear and still be just as sharp. But under Obama, 50% disabled, you can't have a gun. Let's say a veteran loses their legs and has no skills to work, so they are declared disabled. Still have their arms, still have their torso, they're not ill or mentally affected at all, they just don't have their legs. Under Obama, no guns. You see how idiotic it is, and now we have the Texas Legislature trying to do it. This crap is crap. And of course, Nevarez is just another Democrat trying to take away your rights, because the Democrats everywhere know, as long as we the people have our Second Amendment rights, they can't roll into town and say, you can't say this, 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 and this. That church is now unconstitutional. This is now wrong. This is now wrong. You're all going to move over here. You're going to do the jobs I tell you, take the pay I tell you. You're going to pay the taxes I tell you. Just 243 years ago, when the British had shown up and said, give up your guns, we answered with a hearty no. And not even 250 years later, the Democrats are taking King George's side. And I can tell you personally, I have already contacted my state senator, my state representative, and my governor and told them this crap needs to be stopped. Nevarez has already managed to say, I don't care what the U.S. Constitution or the Texas Constitution says, you don't have a right to bear arms. And now Nevarez is saying, well, because you tried to do that, now I'm going to take them away. Honestly, I really wish my state had recall, because I know enough people all over this state, I could probably get a recall election started. But we don't. But I've talked about this long enough. Let me know what you think. As always, keep everything civil. We do not learn from an argument. We learn from debate. As always, please make sure to like, share, and comment on this video, as well as to subscribe and activate notifications so that you're the first to know of any new content as it is posted. Until next time, everyone, have a wonderful day.